Gently bobbing along the shoreline, these sailing dhows look as if they've been put out for decoration. Each one sports its own hand-painted colors, a testament to the owner's pride. But make no mistake, these are working boats. Rugged, simple, and elegant, these craft are the backbone of Dunga Beach, a fishing community on the eastern shores of Lake Victoria. Beneath a shade tree, a young shipwright is making repairs to a boat that's seen many years of hard service. His name is David, which also happens to be my name. I'm a filmmaker by trade, but I'm also an enthusiastic amateur boat builder, so watching David work was a real privilege. Right now he's recaulking the seams between planks. First roofing tar is worked into the gaps, then it will be covered with metal strips held in place by tacks. Before the strips can be tacked, hundreds of holes must be pre-punched by hand. David is the son of a boat builder and learned his trade from his father under the same shade tree. But like so many other Kenyans, David's father lost his life to HIV/AIDS when David was just a teenager. Still, David counts himself lucky. Before he passed on, his father taught him a marketable skill and left him a small collection of hand tools to ply his trade. While David works at making the seams tight, his assistant uses an adze to carve a thwart from a solid log. Once fixed in place, the thwart will provide the strength the boat needs to keep its shape under the press of sail. The next morning we sailed out to see the fleet at work. Carried by the offshore breeze, the dhows sail out as far as 5 or 10 miles, where they'll fish by either longline or gill net. In longlining, the fishermen will set out a multi-hook line of perhaps 400 or 800 yards. Then they'll work up and down the line of hooks. One man steadies the boat while the other rebaits hooks as needed and takes the fish that have been caught. The hope is for a big Nile perch. This one is small. In gill netting, a long net is suspended between wooden floats and rock weights. Left in place overnight, each morning the net is hauled back to check for fish. This one's a tilapia, but perch and other species are also caught by this method. Gill netting is more productive than longlining, but the initial investment is much higher, so nets are fished hard, repaired often, and seldom replaced. While the longliners and gill netters are just starting their day, another fishing fleet is returning from long hours of hard work to a bustling shoreside market. These are the seiners, and they fish through the windless nights powered by men's backs as they search for schools of tiny fish no bigger than your little finger. These fish, known locally as herring, have been the mainstay of Lake Victoria fishing for generations. Thoroughly dried under the intense equatorial sun, they will keep for weeks in nothing more than a kitchen basket, or can be trucked to markets in cities throughout Kenya. But the herring fishery is in trouble. In 1954, colonial authorities introduced the Nile perch into Lake Victoria in the hopes of enhancing the local fishery, and for some people it has. Processed and shipped abroad, Nile perch from Lake Victoria finds its ways into fish markets in cosmopolitan cities throughout the world, and provides an infusion of desperately needed foreign currency into the local economy. But little, if any, of this money reaches these fishermen. They lack the boats and modern fishing equipment needed to fully exploit the Nile perch fishery, and even if they do luck into a bumper catch, they have no real bargaining power to set the price. They can take what the brokers offer, or watch their catch rot. And this new export fishery has come at a price. The perch, which can grow as big as 300 or 400 pounds, feed voraciously on the smaller algae-eating fish like the herring. So voraciously, in fact, that they have changed the very color of the lake's water. As the small fish have become more and more scarce, the lake, which was once described as Africa's sparkling blue gem, is now a dull, algae-choked green. And as the amount of herring landed dwindles, locals have turned to larger fish to feed their families. But without ice or refrigeration, the larger fish must be consumed immediately or preserved by smoking, which in turn has contributed to deforestation around Lake Victoria and sent the local cost of construction lumber, including the planks needed for new boat construction, skyrocketing. This is a boon for David, who makes much of his living keeping old boats afloat, but a hardship for everyone else. In the afternoon, the wind shifts back on shore, heralding the return of the sailing fleet. Carrying an impressive spread of canvas on their slender hulls, they make good time even before a gentle breeze. Today's haul is modest. None of these fish are big enough for the export market, but local women line up to buy fish for their families. They process their purchases at the water's edge. A sharp knife and experienced hands quickly make the catch ready for the kitchen. Nearby, a father and his 2 young sons mend nets in preparation for the next day's work.
Matema,